The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style. From the highs to the lows, every story just explodes. Mike's got questions on the go, diving deep from head to toe. Every week the guests align, sharing moments so divine. Stay with us, the pace is fine. Every episode you'll find. The Big H Podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style.
Karen Hermance, president of the Sally Edelman and Harry Gardner Cancer Research Foundation. Thank you for being with me on the Big H Podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is great.
Tell me a little bit about the history of the foundation that you've been made aware of, how long it's been in existence, and what it does for people.
Okay. So it all started actually over 40 years ago, when George Edelman Jr., who founded the foundation, his wife Sally passed away, and I think it was either after that or just before, his good friend Harry Gardner, who was the mailman in Hilton, passed away. So George wanted to do something, raise some money, for cancer research, because back 40 some years ago, I think it was probably like 44 years ago, there wasn't a lot. We didn't have what we have today. So he wanted to do what he could to raise money for research and support that. So we did it through what we call grassroots fundraising. So we had bike-a-thons, walk-a-thons, euchre tournaments, men's golf, ladies golf, book sales, can sales, penny sales. And the really cool thing about that is this amazing town that they call the little town with the big heart. Everybody really pitched in and did their thing to actually get us to where we are today. So he owned the Arlington restaurant, so he had a pretty good reach of people to get them to join, whether it was golf outings or euchre tournaments, walkathons and such. But he started out of the business, and it kind of took off from there. His goal was, the one thing that he wanted all the money to go to research. He didn't want bricks and mortar. He didn't want to pay for administrative costs. So he wanted it to strictly go to research. So we started doing that, and he looked for places to put the money so that it would go into research. And fortunately, he started out doing it through United Way. But anybody that knows George, there was an additional administrative cost that went along with donations. Even though you had a farther reach in getting those donations, there was money that was going for administrative costs. So he backed out of that. He was only in it for a year, and he was in it for a year only because he had to be for that 1 year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he went to the University of Rochester and said, I want to do something for research. What do you need? Do you need equipment? What is it that you need? And it just started from there. And the goal, so we were incorporated in 1987. and he started raising money in 1984. His goal was to raise $1 million for research. And I believe it was 2001 where we reached that goal of raising $1 million. And as of today, we've given Wilmot Cancer Institute $1.6 million for research.
So were you involved, right from the beginning then?
I wasn't involved right from the beginning. I started doing fundraising probably, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago. Doing some of the events, and then I was elected to the board. Geez, I want to say maybe 2014. I took Bob Westcott's place.
Mm-hmm.
And then when George passed, prior to that, he asked me to take it over and continue his mission.
Earlier in the podcast, you were
Mhm.
saying, well, anybody that knows George, well, tell us a little bit about the type of person George was and what helped him in establishing this foundation.
I think his drive and his determination. The one thing, when you take a look at, even when he was alive, he'd raised $1 million for cancer. But the one thing about him was he just was never one for pomp and circumstance. He didn't want the limelight. He just wanted to continue to do good. So he stayed in the background, which, I understand that. And, you don't want to be recognized for something like that. You'd rather see the results. But he was driven, and he really was hell-bent to get it done. And as a result, we've established some very strong partnerships with Wilmot Cancer Institute, and the foundation is very highly regarded. But George was just, the fundraising events that we had, they were always a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they were a little bit too much fun, but it always brought people back, and it was, it's just, it's like a outpouring of support and labor of love from these people in this village. It's just amazing the things that, the foundation got there because of the support of the people in Hilton.
So you said sometimes those fundraising events were fun, sometimes a lot of too much fun. Tell me a little bit about how that fundraising did bring the community together, maybe giving me a couple of examples of this tournament or this walkathon or this golf tournament.
Mm-hmm. One of the examples is we have the ladies golf tournament that my sister Cheryl Edelman runs. It's been going. This year will be I think it's our 44th year. And it's not like we've had a huge turnover of people. I mean, these ladies come out and they support the cause. We have one, Nancy Hendershot, who has played every single tournament. And it's funny because the first year that she won a prize, because she likes to win her prizes, she won fish hooks. So we last year we presented her with a special prize of fish hooks. So it was kind of funny. We've got people that have been playing in that tournament for 30 years. And no matter what it is, the fire department, they've supported George since he started. And they're still supporting us. I mean, the carnival, they have a fundraiser. That's their means of raising their funds. But they have a tip jar that they put out every year, and they give us a nice size donation. And they do it all, that's their fundraiser, and they're still giving. And so we thought that we had them last year. And we had a gala where we celebrated, where we had given $1 million. And was that last? No, we had finished our commitment, so we celebrated with that, and they were invited and presented us a check. And it's it's stuff like that how can you give up now?
Mm-hmm.
You've got the support of all these people, and unfortunately, I don't know too many people that don't know someone who's been touched by it. And God bless the fire department. They've lost some really good people because of cancer. So you just got to keep going.
Tell me a little bit about George and his family. Clearly, that's your brother.
It's my brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Please tell me about your family.
George, after George's first wife passed, he met my sister Cheryl, and they got married, and he had a daughter, Courtney. And George had 3 sons, Mike, Scott, and Mark. Mike and Scott still live in the village. And Mark lives in Virginia. But yeah, they're just, Courtney is on the board, and Cheryl's on the board. And George's sister, Margaret Farrell, is on the board as well, and Sue Corey, who was Sally's sister. So Sue and Craig are on the board as well. So we've really, really expanded, because we want to do more. So the the family's involved, and it's a good thing.
What type of qualities do the people that you have on your board have? So you're the president, and then you have the board.
So Sue Corey, who is our secretary, her and her husband, who are both on the board, Craig Corey. I believe Craig is on the board at the Baptist Church, and they own their own business. And then our finance is John Semler, who is Courtney's husband. He's actually the controller for lifetime assistance. So, he's a great guy, but we really lucked out having someone with a financial and tax background that he has. And then Margaret Burrett is also on the board. Margaret does the fundraising. So it's a really good group. And we've had, over the years, we've had some amazing people run some of these fundraisers. Helen Foreman and I did the walkathon, and we wanted to expand it and have, try to get as many people as we could. And one year we had walkers, we had runners, we had bicycles, We had dog walkers,
Mhm.
and we even had horses. So that year we called it wheeling and walking, hoofing and woofing. So we still laugh about that.
Mhm.
But I mean, the people that have run these committees are just, another reason why we're here. Debbie Kwiatkowski in the golf tournaments, Helen Way, who's no longer with us. There's just a lot of really good people that we've been surrounded by.
When does your committee meet, and is it in person? Do you do it on Zoom, or how do you get together?
Well, because everybody's schedule is kind of squirrely, so we Zoom, and we Zoom once a month.
That's proved to be pretty beneficial.
Very beneficial. Because we also have another person, Tiffany Payne Cirancione. She's on the board. She used to be our liaison to Wilmot. She worked for Wilmot in the Advancement Center. So, but she stayed with us and volunteered after she left Wilmot. And this past year, we asked her to be a member of the board.
Tell me a little bit about Harry Gardner, what your recollection of him.
I remember, I don't remember a lot. Harry was a very dear friend of George's. And I believe he was the mailman. I don't think he was a postmaster, but he was a mailman. And his daughter lives in Florida, and his grandson actually lives in the village. But I didn't really know Harry that well.
What are some future fundraisers that you have that are, 2 or 3 months down the road?
I have a list.
There
Is
you
it
go.
okay?
It's perfect.
So we have a ladies golf. That's going to be July 27th. And we have a new fundraiser called Cars for Cancer on July 20th. And that's going to be in the Grease Ridge parking lot. Then we have a mixed golf on August 16th. And then we have our music festival September 6th. It's called the Time Machine Music Festival.
So that ladies golf July 27th, that's a one-day tournament.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And where do you have that planned to play at?
That one's going to be played at Arrowhead.
Mhm.
And the mixed is going to be played at Timberwood. And the music festival is going to be in at the Hilton Exempt. And one of the things that we try to do is we try to give back to help get the community not so much involved, but create an awareness for them. We have a lot of businesses that have been doing amazing things, like Sheer Emotion. Cindy Lutweiler, she does fundraising every year for us, and she does a bingo. She does cupcakes for cancer, and does that fundraising for the foundation. So, things like that are just very special to us, and something we certainly don't take for granted. But we try to give recognition to, some of the businesses. And we're still looking for ways to do that. This year is the first year that we've actually had a diamond sponsor for the Time Machine Music Festival, and it's going to be the Fitness Warehouse.
Okay.
So,
What type of bands? Do you know the bands that you're going to have at the Music Fest?
yeah, we have the the Yacht Club, which plays a lot of the older music, but boy, do they get that crowd going, and they have a really good following. The Sandro Nero Band, and she plays all different kinds of music and is an amazing singer. And then we have, boy, another band. I apologize. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. What type of music or genre is it? Is it
Um,
country?
I would say it's some of it's rock, some of it's old rock, and it features Donnie Mancuso, who is just went into the Rochester Music Hall of Fame. He was with Black Sheep.
Nice.
Yeah, and he's been with us every year. So has the Yacht Club, and so has Sandra Nero.
Expand a little bit about Cars for Cancer again. You said that's in the Grease Ridge Center.
That's going to be our first time doing this fundraiser. We're always looking for ways that we could, in order for us to do more, to give more, we're looking for new ideas for fundraising. So Tiffany, who is on our board, her husband, she calls him a gearhead. So he loves old cars and goes to car shows. So she wanted to do Cars for Cancer. So this will be our first year, so we're kind of learning as we go and going around and talking to other people that are having these shows. So basically what it is people will pay an entry fee, like I think it's $20 a car, and they'll show their car off, and then there'll be some judging and some prizes. And
so gearheads, bring your car there, pay an entry fee, and come around and take a look at all the local cars.
Absolutely, yeah. And we have the entry fees, or the entry forms. We have them on our website, which is www.edelmancrf.com. So we'll have registration forms on there for that. Plus, there's a lot of other information on the website.
And I'll drop that website in the comment box below, which people can easily access. So in your effort to the fundraising, where do you get that energy? Where's your board get that energy? Do you feed off each other?
You definitely feed off each other, but I think the biggest thing is, we made a commitment, George made a commitment that we would never stop. And not every day, but just about every day, there's another reason to keep going. And, I've been fortunate enough to spend some time at Wilmette and run some, co-chair some different teams. And, they're very welcoming. They really care. And it's really hard to not be surrounded by those people and not want to get fired up. Especially when you see, some of your supporters that are survivors. That's really all you need to keep going.
What is it like when somebody on your board or in your organization does pass and it's to cancer? What's that like?
It sucks. I mean,
I was thinking the same two words.
It does. It's we like to use the website and these events to share good news, really good stuff that's happening. But as good as that stuff is, it's really hard if somebody's going through that, to really get out there and boast about all the good stuff that's going on, because there's still a lot of people that are suffering. And yeah, there's people are living longer. There's more hope because of clinical trials. But there's still a lot of work left to do.
What are some plans that you have on the horizon to help survivors, people facing challenges? What would you like to do with that?
Oh man. Well, one of the things that I've been fortunate enough to do with Wilmot is run some focus groups and talk to them about, what is it that when you were diagnosed, what is it that you needed that you didn't get? What is it that you didn't need that you got a lot of? So that we can start to help other people, that are going through this diagnosis. Because typically when somebody gets diagnosed, they glaze over. They're not paying attention. Not that they're not paying attention, but I mean, it's a terrible thing to even hear. So how do we help them get through that? And you do that through having better communication at the hospitals, patient navigators, people that they can buddy up with that knows what they're talking about. I can have all the empathy in the world, but I haven't gone through it. So it's not even fair for me to think that I do know. So would really like to do that. And I have some ideas, and one of them is I don't even know if it's a podcast, but to have a safe place where people can come, whether they're survivors, whether they're caretakers, and just talk about their experience, so that those of us that don't have it can learn how to respond to others that do. So I don't know when that's coming. I'm doing a couple focus groups for Wilmot, so I'm hoping that at some point I can do the same thing for our supporters here.
Great idea. Tell me a little bit about those focus groups through Wilmot. Tell me about something that you chair or a session that you would be involved in.
One of the things that I did was I wanted to have people don't always get a chance to talk to the researchers, the ones that are in the labs working all day trying to find, the next great idea. So we don't have a lot of contact because they're not out in the community. So the community doesn't know always what the researchers are doing, but the researchers don't always know how much they're appreciated. So I brought, I had a group of community members, different types of people, and we had we wrote what they call an RFA. It's a request for application, and it's a grant to do research, and it was called Our Voice, Your Science. So we had the first community group write a grant, and Wilmot funded it. They not only funded one, but they actually funded two, and that was pretty cool.
I like that title, Our Voice, Your Science, because it's the people that receive the help, but the research, in a sense, they're in a lab and they don't sometimes, I think, see the fruits of their labor.
No, they don't. And I was fortunate enough to take that Our Voice, Your Science. I was got a travel award to go to a preventative oncology group conference in Philadelphia, and I presented that, and I had some of the researchers there, and I said, we don't tell you enough how much we appreciate what you're doing, whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. And they were like, wow, it's, you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to do something that brings community and the researchers together.
As president, and with Sally Edelman,
Mm-hmm.
or excuse me, Karen Hermance, do you do a lot of traveling as president for
No.
your? No, not really.
No,
So a lot of it is local.
it's all local. Mm-hmm. We don't do any traveling. It's all pretty much done here.
Did you grow up in Hilton?
I did.
Okay,
I graduated in 1974.
that's all right.
Yeah, and then went from high school to Kodak.
So you entered the workforce right at 18, or did you?
Well, I entered, I think it was like 21.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 21. And retired from there after 40 years. But fortunately, I'm thankful because a lot of the skills that I learned there, I'm using now.
Okay.
So I'm very appreciative of that.
Expand on those skills and the jobs you did at Kodak.
I was an operations supervisor for a time, and then then they switched me to a maintenance supervisor for the film flow. And maintenance is probably the furthest thing that you would think that I would do. The guys would never even let me touch a tool. It was a big joke, but yeah, it's all managing people and letting them do what they're good at, and project management and stuff like that.
And you didn't have any college education or any?
I had some college, but I didn't finish.
Okay.
Didn't finish.
And that made me wrong, but you managed a lot of guys in your position, right?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
It was awesome, actually. In order to get respect, you got to give it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really lucky. Still in contact with some of them today. Actually, last week in 2 different groups. We went out to breakfast or lunch, and it's just good people. If you let people do what they're supposed to be good at,
Mm-hmm.
then that helps.
Tell me a little bit about then your family, any siblings or your mom and dad?
Yeah, my mom and dad passed.
Mm-hmm.
And my one sister lives in Wisconsin, and my other sister, Cheryl, lives here in the village, just outside the village.
I did read some information that you've retired from Kodak in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
What have you been doing since then, besides being president's got to be pretty big? Hobbies, interests?
Well, aside from the foundation and Wilmot, that takes up quite a bit of time, but
Mm-hmm.
Love to jet ski.
Mm-hmm.
That was my gift to myself when I retired. So, and I enjoy doing that. I have some kids down the street that I call my adopted grandsons, and they're good kids. So we spend some time on the jet skis, and they're active sports, so I get to go watch them play sports. One of them is lacrosse, which they're in the sectionals on Tuesday, so that's
They're
pretty
doing
cool.
pretty well, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's a freshman.
Really?
So yeah, he's starting.
Well, my best of luck to that team because I know the mom of one of the players too. So,
Oh, really?
well, yeah. Yeah, I
I hope
hope they
so
take
too.
it all, you know. Do you go out on the water with them then with
Oh
your
yeah.
jet skis?
Uh-huh. Yep. Yep. They take good care of me. They make me toe the line.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. How could people reach you again? You got the email, and is there also a phone number too? Then that they
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anybody has any questions whatsoever, my phone number is 585-755-7270.
I'll put that again in the comment box down below.
Sure.
Um,
Oh, and I just joined the Hilton Alumni Association.
oh, good.
Yeah, with Nancy and Debbie Montrello and Bonnie Lupo. And
Did you have good days at Old Hilton High School?
I did.
You
I had
did?
some really good people.
Good people?
Yeah, yeah.
Any that you remember or want to
Yeah.
mention?
Oh, I don't want to mention one and not the others.
Well, you mentioned Bob Westcott. Was he teaching when you were there?
I think he was.
He was a teacher of mine when I went through.
Really?
I was mid to late 80s, yeah. So,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
but he was on the board and you took over his position, you said?
He moved to Florida.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's, yeah, we've had a lot of really good people on the board, that were homegrown from Hilton. Bernie Katie and Duke Wolfram, Bob Diedrich. Oh boy, I'm gonna get in trouble.
You don't get in trouble, but you're mentioning names of the Dietrich name and Wolfram. I remember doing some painting at his house when I was in high school.
Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Karen, it's been great getting to know you. I look forward to getting your information out there
Thank you.
in any way that I can help you with. Anything else that you want to bring to our wide array of audience?
I guess the only thing that I would leave you with or leave them with is, there's no amount of words or gratitude that we could ever express to all of the people, businesses, supporters over the years that have been with the foundation, believe in the foundation. There's no words that we could say to show how much their support means to us. And if there was a way that we could figure out how to do that, we would certainly do it, but certainly doesn't feel like it's enough.
Mm-hmm.
But we do appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you, and you keep me updated on your upcoming fundraisers, and I'll find a way to plug it into any of the platforms that I have. Thank you for joining me on the Big H podcast.
Thank you for doing this. This is awesome.
Please follow me on X at Michael Heiss 17 on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts at the Big H podcast. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Okay.
The Big H podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh and learn, stay a while. Let's explore that Hilton style. From the highs to the lows, every story just explodes. Mike's got questions on the go, diving deep from head to toe. Every week the guests align, sharing moments so divine. Stay with us, the pace is fine. Every episode you'll find. The Big H podcast, tune in now. Conversations that'll wow. Laugh inside.